My name is Andy Gessner. I am the owner and president of Hip Video Promo, and you are listening to The Jay Franzi Show.
Welcome to The Jay Franzi Show, a behind-the-curtain look at the entertainment industry with insights you can't pay for and stories you've never heard. Now, here's your host, Jay Franzi.
And we are coming at you live. I am Jay Franzi, and this is your source for the latest news, reviews, and interviews. So if you would like to join in, comment, or fire off any questions, please head over to jfranzi.com. All right, folks, tonight we have a very special guest with us. We have the owner and president of Hip Video Promo. Hailing from the great state of New Jersey, we have Andy Gessner. Andy, sir, how are you?
Jay, fantastic. Very grateful you've invited me to be a guest on the Jay Franzi Show.
I'm excited to have you here, buddy. I'm always interested in talking about music marketing. So why don't we just jump right in? Let's start with, can you tell us a little bit about the value of creative storytelling when it comes to making a successful video?
Well, now more than ever, people listen with their eyes. And in many ways, the story you tell in your song can be amplified considerably by being able to tell a good story in a visual. It's my humble opinion that the visual is the cornerstone to your identity. And it can also show off your chops when it comes to your creative efforts. You put all this time and effort into creating a well-crafted, fully realized song. And when you're an artist, you actually are your story. And never before, Jay, has it been important that independent artists are able to tell stories around their music.
Can you give us an example of a time when an artist came to you with a song and wanted to put a video together, but didn't quite understand the concept of creating that story?
I've always told the clients they need to go to a dark room, close their eyes, listen to the song the way we used to, with very few other options to consume your music. And we used to imagine what we saw or what was the vision of the artist. And I always suggest, like Casey Kasem used to say, just keep your feet on the ground, but pie in the sky, in a perfect world, unlimited funds. What do you see? And once they've completed that, they have to do it a second time. So they're coming to us with ideas. And after 20 years of playing music, I enjoy working with clients because we do also have a production arm of Hip in making sure we tell their story and we realize their vision.
When you say pie in the sky, somebody comes in, has anybody ever come in with this outrageous thing that could never be accomplished?
Yes, but just like in negotiating, Jay, you start at the top and you work your way down.
So tell us what happened. What was the idea somebody came to you with?
Just today. It's going to be difficult. So it's a young lady in Los Angeles, and she had just moved there from elsewhere. And of course, that's an incredible culture shift just to begin with. And she's there in January. So she wrote a song called Dance in the Fire, and it's pretty heartfelt. I think when you experience something, there is much more of a visceral urge to tell that story with your fans, your audience, your family. So they have employed us to make a lyric video, but they want footage from the fire. So I see myself tomorrow calling KTLA, KCAL, Fox 11. Okay, this is going to be for a good cause to help the people of the fire. Can we use some of your footage? Now, Jay, you and I both know that copyright people, especially now with AI, they're not going to let you get away with anything. And even if we get the okay from the TV stations, how am I going to call YouTube and tell them they've made a mistake?
Right. We used to battle with that with our theme song. We had a band that licensed their theme song to us, and it was awesome and it was great. But every time we ran it on YouTube, they flagged us for copyright violation, even though we had the right to use it. So I completely understand that. Mm-hmm. So what is your negotiation tactic going to be with this artist?
There is a dojo karate studio in Palisades that burned down. And now the kids have no place to go. So they're doing it makeshift. But Kendra, she wants to help and she wants to donate. And she came up with the idea, let's do a big fundraiser. And we can invite all the famous people. And at that show or event, they're going to play the lyric video, and that'll be the big world premiere. I think the best part of music marketing is that if it's 20% the great music, the great song, all the time and effort. I don't know, Jay, I'd like your opinion. Is it really 80% how you're able to get it out to the public?
I would think you spend the majority of your time trying to get stuff out to the public. We used to say that all the time when we were creating music, that you're going to spend this certain amount of time creating the music, but then you're going to spend the next 2 years promoting that music. So it could be anything from taking it on the road to putting music videos together to doing the interviews and so on. So yes, you're going to spend much, much more of your time promoting the music than you are actually making the music. Mm-hmm. So as we talk about this, in this negotiation that you're doing with Kendra to give back to this karate dojo, now does that open up the doors for you to use some of that footage or to get footage from people to help out with this video?
What do you think of this idea? Instead of going with what might be your 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock news, we go with actual footage from the people's phones who lived it.
Right, because then it's not copyrighted. Well, it's copyrighted material for them, but nobody's seen it, so nobody knows that that footage exists, and they're not going to be able to flag it. So if you do get it licensed to you, that nobody's going to know where it came from. So have you taken that approach? Have you started that process?
Well, they are West Coast, so the call with them was at 6:30 this evening, so I think I'm going to put it on my to-do list for tomorrow.
All right, fair enough. Well, I know you've done a lot of work with famous artists, and one of them I want to talk about later because it happens to be one of my favorite artists. But before we get there, can you tell me what you're able to do with an artist these days with a lower budget?
Well, I think a lot of people figure the price of admission for a music video promotion ranges around what might be a smaller budget radio promotion budget. And as someone who has played music and has lived it, breathed it, sweated, bled it, I would rather undercharge and over deliver, because even though you make a little less on each project, the clients feel the ROI is just so not to be ignored. that they're already working on a new music video because they've ditched the radio. They've ditched the radio. And they're saying, we're going to take those marketing resources and figure out a better way to connect with a potential community that we can build and grow. And that is why with every campaign, we help the clients with the social media marketing and the creation of content. And many perish due to lack of knowledge. And all it takes is just someone you can trust who can take you through the process. The biggest issue is that for a lot of these independent artists, if it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work, they're not going to do it.
All right, so let's start there then. I'm an artist. I come to you. Walk me through the process. What do we do from the day I hit your doorstep to the day that we're finished with the project?
Well, first is the visual. Even though we've promoted 4,800 music videos, I have probably said no to a very large amount because it's pretty clear to us that in this world, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So for me to tell a client that their video is good, a good first impression, when it's my team's and my humble opinion, it is not. I would rather tell the client the truth has a certain ring to it than to fib to him and tell him it is a good first impression, because number one, it does not help the creative. Maybe he needs to be told to ditch that sorry ass videographer. And next time out, experience is a hard teacher. She gives the test first and the lessons afterwards. Do it right there, sport. I mean, you really want to get out of the gate with a big old head of steam. Now, 9 out of 10 will be so appreciative that we aren't like all the other marketing people that'll just take your money and do nothing. So they're the people who call 8 months or 11 months later and say, Andy, remember me? I'm Bobby. Yeah, remember you told me well, let me tell you, I appreciate it because now in hindsight, retrospect, you were right. Now, I've shot a new video. I'm going to send it to you. I have saved the artist from himself. I've talked him off a ledge. I think I'm doing the big guy's work there. And then you start a relationship on a basis of trust.
So you've got that relationship now. You meet with the artist. You earn their trust by letting them know the truth about their video. They go back. They create something that now you both feel is going to be successful. What's the next step?
We get the assets. So it's the video file. We need the lyrics because we have to close caption it. Everybody gets it a different way. Some people need it digitally delivered. Other people would prefer to get a certain kind of file that is odd and peculiar. But if you're promoting a couple hundred videos a year, you figure it out. And then there are those that you absolutely have to use a company out of Toronto, Canada, DMDS. What it basically stands for is if you want to pitch to MTV or BET Jams or Music Choice, you're going to have to go through us, and you're going to have to pay a certain amount of submission to present your video to these decision makers, gatekeepers.
Again, that makes sense. You have to have the connections to do something. Now, whether or not it's a fair deal or not, that's to be said. But somebody's got to be the gatekeeper. I guess my question would be, does that gatekeeper have a relationship with MTV or CMT or whoever else? Is it a relationship that was designed on purpose?
It was. They were receiving so much garbage, so much rubbish, total riffraff, and they want to look at everything. They want to give everyone a fair shot, and it's all done by committee. So they hatched this plot. We're like, how can we make it as difficult as humanly possible to get the videos into this meeting? And hence that new era was born. And remember, if it's something like BET Jams, sure, they accept the video, but then it goes to standards and practices. So then it gets bumped back to us, and whether it's a blur or a little twist on it's all part of a day at HIP.
So when you're doing that, right? So you've developed a relationship with them now. So you're creating a one level up relationship. So now you're working with them, so you know what they expect. That's your value to your client is that, hey, I know what they're looking for, so let me go ahead and help you get to that point, especially when you have to convince somebody to go and reshoot a video, which could be a very expensive process. So you do that, you've created that relationship, you've upped their video quality. Now you're taking it to these people that you have this relationship with. What's the next step from there?
Well, you've got to tell the client's story. Every video gets a story because it's almost like reading the back of the cereal box while you're eating your cereal. People want to know, A, who are you? B, what makes you special? And most importantly, 3, why should I pay attention? So, as a former journalism and mass media major, I want each story to end so that the reader has no other visceral urge than to go watch this video. So we're now over 4,800 times writing these, and a couple things become very clear. The artists themselves, they are not the person to tell the story. The older brother who is an author, no, he's definitely not the guy to do it. The bio writer for 350, it's amazing because we send these proposed one-sheet press release to the client, and they're just floored in the sense that they've never actually looked at what they are and what they do and what their motivation is from an outward view. Because we all know a lot of these interviewers, they don't do their research. How many times have we gone to the newspaper on Friday to see the big article that we had to go
Attractions.
And the guy just calls it in. It's terrible. So yes, telling the story is key. Then we send a social media optimization guide with all the tips and things they should do to optimize their online platforms. And it's kind of like taking your vehicle into the detailing shop before the big car show. And then it's all set. We have to get an exclusive online world premiere. So some will politely pass, others will say it doesn't fit their filter. But it's all about the big day when the video comes out. And it's definitely all hands on deck. You want to make a big splash and get a lot of people excited about it. So it very much is a participatory sport, as in the artist really has to level up and realize that, this is like hitting the beaches at Normandy. I put all this time and effort in. We got to win this battle big time. So we are cheerleaders. We are mentors. I guess we are the shoulder to cry on when you have a problem or someone messes with their Facebook page or they can't remember their password. I mean, you just hear every reason why an artist is feeling frustrated.
Before we get off the subject of this origin story that you're talking about, what are some qualities that make up a good origin story?
I think that the best thing these people can be in life is themselves. So they really have to share with us, what is your motivation? Why are you even doing this? And it really forces the artist to think a little bit more about what it is that he's bringing to the world. I mean, we all listen to music to feel a way we'd rather be feeling. So, what is it? And so, I think it's important that because everything is so now story driven, people should really take some time and effort and figure it out.
So, again, we talk about all this. You talk about authenticity. Do you ever have a struggle between the authenticity and imagination?
Well, I tell the clients, because a lot of them want to try to stay humble. I really don't want to have to post every day. I just rather have people appreciate me for my music. Jay, we ain't in that world anymore.
You're starting to talk more about the social media world. So why don't we go ahead and take that path for a minute then?
Okay.
So when we talk about social media, especially these days when we're talking about visual content, there's a struggle between the short form and the long form. And in the world of music video, long form is only 3.5 minutes, and short form is 30 seconds. So how do you see those two playing nicely together in the sandbox?
Well, I would contend that the most frequently asked question has been, Andy, why is everyone saying don't waste your money on a sorry ass official music video? Just all short form content. Okay. Maybe for a little while, but I think there will always be a market for the full and complete book. We don't want the freaking cliff notes.
It's debatable, right? So for somebody like myself, I want the full book. I want to be able to see the full video. I want to listen to the full song. And in some cases, I want to listen to it on repeat so I can pick up the little nuances through it and really take it in. But that's the generation that I was brought up on. So generations these days, I have 3 daughters. I don't know if they've listened to an entire song ever. My older daughter, the oldest of the 3, she has now gotten into purchasing vinyl, which I could not be happier. She's making herself a little collection, and she puts it on and listens to it from start to finish. And now she has album art that she can take and look at, read liner notes. She gets the experience that I had when I was a kid. But most people these days don't take that experience. They see the videos on social media, and what kills me these days is kids are posting videos with their songs sped up so they can get through them quicker. So, I mean, how do you fight that when you're creating these long form videos?
I think that there's always going to be a market for music videos, so there's no fighting it. And I would say that no, you don't have to spend the big bucks on a music video anymore. I'm sure, Jay, you are very familiar the days where you were required, or it would look like yes, to shoot a music video on film.
Yes, of course. I used to work with a video company out of Boston, and we started on film. And it was a struggle to switch to digital media.
And there were Beta SP tapes, 3/4 inch.
Yep. So you were talking about budget and putting together a video these days, and you even mentioned lyric video earlier. Lyric video seems to be the lowest common denominator these days. In my opinion, not the best way to go, but it does give an artist an ability to get something out there. So let's take it a step beyond the lyric video. Give us some examples of what we can do with a low budget when it comes to making a video?
I think it's to make a human connection. When I think of some of the videos we've promoted that were very low budget, and the results were phenomenal.
What would be a good budget for us to reach? Like, what's a goal?
Well, I think that for the most part, when it comes to music videos, I'm not quite certain whether you have to spend five figures. If you've got a good videographer who has proven, I tell clients, you really have to look at, okay, who has the person worked with? Can I watch some of his work? And you want to be with a videographer that's got the opportunities that you're going to be able to have your input and have some creative vision in it. So I would think some of the videos we're getting are done on a phone and on a shoestring budget, but there they are on MTV Spankin' New or BET Jams. I think you've got a situation where if you've got a great song, and great music will always find an audience, you've got an opportunity to build your fan base and grow your community.
So when we're talking about it from a marketing point of view, and you get this video in your hands, is it like any other form of media? Do you feel like you can take that video and then chop it down into smaller pieces for social media so you can repurpose the video into video clips? Do you have a strategy when it comes to repurposing clips?
Well, I think that we have a lot of clients who will do a 60-day plan. We call it the 60-day grind. And we were chatting in October, November, how they plan to have 5. They plan to have 6. They're going to have 4 releases in 2025. So I very much take the shampoo, rinse, repeat approach, because nowadays that's the only way you're going to get the kind of traction that will make it so you can do music and nothing else. So for a lot of our clients, we are starting round 2 here in April. And you don't have to have your visuals figured out to keep that momentum going. All you have to do is know that consistent, sustained promotion is going to win out in the end.
All right. So you're taking these social media clips and you're generating what I can only assume is several of them. And you're dispersing them at a particular rate of time to get them out there and keep people motivated. So is that rate of time daily?
We have clients who will post 2 or 3 times daily. It's something that we have struggles with because you've got to keep that vibration constant. And well, I don't want to use the word constant. No, consistency. Consistency is the key.
So from the fan point of view, I follow several bands and a lot of independent bands as well. And what I see happening, especially with the independent artists, is they put a single together, they create a video, and then they ride it to death. So just like, I guess, what used to be on the radio, when you would hear that song once an hour, now I'm hearing that same song in a video, whether it be social media, the full video, or just the repurposed clips. I'm hearing that same song over and over and over again all day, every day. So do you ever run into a challenge of creating, listener fatigue?
Well, how about some of those songs you speak of from bands you respect and admire? And because they're beating you over the head with it, it's having a negative impact.
When a radio station plays a song an hour, and even when you love that song when it first came out, they can drill it into your head so much that even though you might still think it's the best song on the album, you don't want to hear it anymore. So how do we keep a new band, an indie band, from creating that fatigue and still promoting their music?
Well, I think you have to keep a keen eye on your audience. You do have to experiment with timing. I think that a lot of clients, they're not including the personality posts. And the personality posts are maybe every fourth or fifth. Show folks that you're a human person. You know, a lot of people will like your music, but then if you're not afraid to show folks who is the real artist, they're going to like you too. And then you've got someone who was a fan, and now they are a super fan. So you and I both know 1,000 super fans, you're off to the races.
Absolutely. Well, you make a very good point when you talk about letting them get to know you as a person. So you're part of the development of these social campaigns. How are you helping them to release these videos as a person? What kind of direction do you give them?
Well, we ask them what they are passionate about. And for a lot of people, that's a real head scratcher. What are they passionate about? And then, of course, they'll say, well, I'm passionate about my music. And I'm like, jackass, we're talking other things in your life. Well, I don't want to show my family. No, I'm not talking showing your family. Now, for me, okay, I've been waiting all year. I like sharing my garden. Now, people said no one wants to see your garden. You're going to see the garden. It's all happening. It's all coming. And people will see that I'm excited about the garden. And people need a post to brighten their day. And then you show them the pretty flowers and you're a hero.
That's true. When I post something that's completely off topic, it gets a lot of attention. But it's getting a lot of attention because it's that one splash of color in a world of black and white.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to then start overdoing that, then it goes in the other direction. Mm-hmm. So there has to be that balance. And that's what we were talking about earlier with the cadence of releasing these chopped up videos, the repurposing of those videos. There has to be some sort of balance, some sort of cadence. And you mentioned maybe every third or fourth post making something a little bit more personal. Do you calculate it down to the type of posts? Like, do you have a system? Can you tell us what that system is?
It's like daily. To quote a great song from 50 years ago, anticipation. So we know the song is coming out May 4th, big day. So we're teasing it. And just you have to keep a consistent vibration out there. Because if you don't emote a vibration that you are seriously passionate about this new song and new music video, how do you expect anyone else to be passionate and excited about your new song and your new music video?
So if you're starting with anticipation, how does that anticipation fit into that cadence of the cycle of release?
Well, it's all about the big day. So maybe show some of the opening stanzas of the music video. And then show maybe some cliffhangers at the end. But everything in a humble way, just a reminder, a gentle nudge. It's all happening on May 4th. We talk about the call to actions, and people are perplexed by the call to action. And I explain it simply. It's like given the choice between doing something and doing nothing, vast majority will do nothing. So we're going to put a little thing at the top that just says, hey, love to know what you think of the new video. Your opinion counts. Please share. No like, subscribe, follow, buy me a sandwich. It's like ridiculous. No, be humble, be a humble creative, and just say, look, I put a lot of time into this show. I mean, look at all the great people I've brought you. Please, leave me some more comments. Give me some more feedback. It really works because you are that kind of person that is showing the world that, hey, I'm bearing my soul to you. Let me know what you think. That's all.
Well, you mentioned in there, the likes. Mm-hmm. So since the world has become set on likes and downloads and streams, what are metrics that you feel are important to success?
You're going to continue to create musical art. You always want to keep your eye on the prize, and the eye on the prize is your new set of songs. So don't get distracted. Don't be too precious about any of it. Stay focused on the music.
One of my favorite bands that I listen to these days is Five Finger Death Punch. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about the video that you promoted for them?
I can. There's so many great stories. Just those moments being right place, right time.
Let's keep it limited and just give us 26 of those.
Okay. Five Finger Death Punch, 2006, first video, The Bleeding. And just like so many of the bands of the era, you could just feel the energy. And interviewing them, you knew that they had it in them to break through. And by the time we got to 2012, we had promoted six Five Finger Death Punch. Also, terrific fan. And just to see them continuing to fight the good fight is terrific.
Did you have any challenges working with them?
None. The bestest guys. They showed love to those showing love to them or advocating for them. A very warm, loving family of guys.
We had Bruce Ryder on the show. He's their front of house sound guy. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't have been nicer. He had nothing but nice things to say about them. He invited me out to the show, and I got to meet the band and sit there and have lunch with them. And they were nothing but nice guys. So I have nothing but good things to say about them. Good to hear that you've had nothing but good things to say as well. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't have challenges with them, I'm sure there had to be some challenges along the way. Can you tell us about a challenge that you may have had?
Sure. It was 2003. I get the call. This was back in the phone call days. And I had been pleasantly persistent with the bands and artists and labels that I was a fan of. And one was, of course, Lost Highway. So it's January of 2003. And the phone rings with the 615. I'm like, hello. So they have a new video. It's from Johnny Cash. So my jaw hit the floor. He said, yeah, but there's a problem. In the video, he doesn't look too good. I'm like, oh. And they're like, and it's not his normal Johnny Cash kind of repertoire. It's a 9 Inch Nails song. So, okay. And the next day we saw the video, and I called and I said, we'd be grateful for the opportunity. And it was 22 years ago. And I can always say we were the ones advocating for Johnny there. I still think it's the most iconic music video of a cover song of all time.
All right, sir. Well, we do this thing here we call Unsung Heroes, where we take a moment to shine the light on somebody who's worked behind the scenes or somebody who may have supported you along the way. Do you have anybody that you would like to shine a little light on?
Sure. Probably just having a team of people. Mike, rock and roll drummer, met him back in the days when I was booking shows in New Brunswick and Hoboken and Asbury Park. Band was Hero Pattern, and they were great. As a bass player, I've always felt an affinity to drummers. I like drummers. He's been here 16 years. Then there's Rebecca. Rebecca is our director of marketing and communications. Lots of info, and she's able to handle it all. And then we have Hannah, we have Catherine, we have Francesca. We have a lot of fun.
All right, sir. Well, we've done it. We have reached the end of the show. So if you have found value in tonight's show, please tell a friend. And as we say, if you did not, tell two. You can also reach out to both of us over at jfranzi.com, where we would be happy to keep this conversation going. Andy, sir, I cannot thank you enough for being here tonight, and I would like to leave the final words to you.
Thank you, Jay. Continue to fight the good fight. Really inspiring. Giving voice to the voiceless here. Definitely stay tuned to the Jay Franzi Show.
You are awesome, sir. On that note, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to The Jay Franzi Show. Make sure you visit us at jfranzi.com. Follow, connect, and say hello. This episode has been brought to you by VR Knives, your source for 100% custom knives made by a true rock star. So, if you're in the market for a new piece of art, reach out to VR Knives. 407-421-5528. 407-421-5528.